Hello and welcome to another video from Parker Adams Boat Sales. I'm Jonathan Parker.
And I'm Andrew Adams. As you can see, we are today sat down in a very beautiful Sunseeker Manhattan 50. And we're actually in the Channel Islands. So we flew over this morning and we are filming, photographing, do all the work for a brand new listing that we're about to take on, which is this 2005 Manhattan 50. We're located in Beauset Marina. I had the drone up earlier on today, and as you can see, Beauset is quite a unique place to be. It's absolutely fascinating. I can go on and on about Beauset, but one of the big things about Beauset is you'll notice this entrance that you come through the rocks. Now, I get nervous going through the entrance of Port Solent sometimes, so I can't imagine what it's like to go into this marina with a big easterly swell running.
Yeah, it's a bit different than going through the lock at Port Solent, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
Yeah, it does look a bit scary. So, you have to be brave, I think, to do it in any sort of weather.
Totally.
And what you'll see on the video today is that the weather is actually not brilliant. We've come over, it was raining in Southampton when we left, and we've arrived here. Luckily, the rain's laying off, but it is windy and it is chilly. So we're inside this lovely boat with the heating on, and we're going to do a full walkthrough tour of this video with you right now, and we're going to look through everywhere.
Walkthrough tour of the video? It's walkthrough tour of the boat.
Well, we did do that as well.
Should do the video of the walkthrough tour?
Okay. Okay.
I'm getting in trouble now.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. All right, okay, so we're going to do a walkthrough tour of the boat, and we're going to do it right now, full video, and we're going to go through everywhere from the cabins to the engine room to the crew cabin, and I'm going to even show you how to get a dinghy on and off the back.
Absolutely. I have to say the space down below is absolutely fantastic. Just for those who just want a very quick hit of the boat, you can see here just a quick view which goes all the way around the main master cabin, and it is absolutely huge there. You can see vanity space on the left hand side. There's actually 5 windows that overlook the water in this cabin. This now is the main master cabin. You can sweep around here, another large double bed. The space on this boat is absolutely brilliant. A really fantastic family boat. So let's crack on with the actual walkthrough tour. Where should we start, Jonathan? Where's the best place?
Outside before it rains.
Very good plan. Right, see you in a minute.
Well, here we are on the front of the Sunseeker 50. We do have wind-resistant microphones, so I hope you can hear as well. We're actually gusting 7s today in Beauset. We're pretty sheltered here. As you can see, you know, it's a very interesting marina. Not very big, but it's basically a quarry that they decided to blast a hole in it so you can get in and out, and filled up with water. And it does have a sill as well, so the tide only goes down, I think, to the level we're at now. I think it's gone down now. But as you can see, we're on the front of the Sunseeker, and it's a really nice area for sun lounging. There's 2 sun lounger cushions here. You can see them strapped down, but these are covers over the cushions. So these are protective covers over the cushions, and they unzip and you can take the covers off. So in the summer you can have the cover off, but in the winter it protects them. So it's quite nice. We've got the windlass anchor at the front. You can control that at the helm, but you also have the push button controls here, so you can operate them with your feet, so you can see it going up and down.
Jonathan, I'm going to ask you a question now. I've not seen a link like that before. What's that?
The wonky one?
Yeah, slightly wonky link there.
Well, if you imagine when it comes up, when it goes that final bit over the roller, it just allows it to angle slightly, so it just comes up that little bit smoother.
So it should always make sure it comes up the right way round and doesn't come up.
Yeah, well, naturally it'll do that. So it'll naturally, the weight of that on the roller will make the anchor line itself up.
Nice. It's funny, if I changed the anchor on my own boat yesterday, and it took 2 or 3 attempts to get it to come up at the right angle. Sure. So that's quite impressive.
If you let it out a bit. Oh, it's got a little lock, hang on. That's quite clever. It's got a little lock there that you need to lift to let it down. But as you see, as that comes up,
I see.
It self-rights the anchor.
Rights it.
It comes back up through the gap nicely.
That works really well.
Okay, and this is a locking pin, so it does lock in position as well, that locking tab, so it doesn't, so you don't have to put an eye or something on that will naturally do that. So when I let it down, can't fall off.
Again, I've not seen one of those. I'm used to using an anchor keep rather than a little mechanism.
Yeah, it's nice. It's quite a good little clever system. Right, should we walk round? Because we can see, you can follow me round now, and the walkways are quite nice. As you can see though, we've got windscreen covers. So these add a bit of privacy internally inside the boat and give you some protection over the winter. Pop that back on. The walkways are quite nice. They're fairly wide. You've got grab handles either side. And again, the walkway, you can walk around both sides of the boat quite happily, and then down into the cockpit area.
So just notice something I really like here is the it's got a grid here where the water, instead of, on quite a lot of Flybridge boats, you see the water runs down and ends up in the cockpit area, but Sunseeker have thought about that and put a little grid here, so the water, when it runs down,
you know, the other thing as well, what's by it?
Of course, the diesel. So if you have an overflow, it goes straight to
it doesn't come down onto the deck,
so
which will
you always think of the
ruin.
good technical things that I missed, John. That's why we make a good team.
The other feature on these, which you don't see in all the Sunseekers, is actually we've got winches on the backs. So this is for stern to moorings, but very useful for even just doing normal moorings and things like that, so you can pull yourself in and out. But it has foot controls, they're electric. And the idea of that, you can tie that onto there with your stern to mooring, and then you can pull yourself into a nice position. And there's one on the other side as well. The cockpit area is actually quite vast. It's a nice size. A table's been added at some point. It is a folding table as well, so you can just have it as a dinner table, or you can have it as a drinks table. It has been out in the weather, so it needs a little bit of TLC, but it's actually in not bad condition. It just needs a clean up, and I think that will just come up like new again. The seating, as you can see, bench seat all the way down. I would say the upholstery's in. It seems very original to me, the upholstery. And there's a couple of little tears in it just along here, and it's just a little bit grubby. I mean, it's usable, but I would think anyone taking this on might want to look at replacing that at some stage.
Considering the value of the boat, it's actually relatively inexpensive to replace cockpit upholstery, and that put a lovely silver text, perhaps a grey upholstery or something. I think it would really lift the back of here. It doesn't
because it's
need
not
to
a
be
massive
done.
area of cushionage. It just give it that bit of uplift.
It doesn't need to be done, but I think it would make a massive difference if it was.
Yeah, absolutely. There's storage underneath all the seats up until you get to the end one, and then under here there's actually a crew cabin. Now it's being used as storage. So down there at the moment is a tender. There's also the cockpit covers. So there is an enclosure for the outside of here. And there's a Flybridge cover as well. But in there, as you can see, there was a toilet and there's a fold down sink, and that sink folds back up when you're not using it. So very useful storage, but can double as a crew cabin if you wish. Okay, so let's just go round onto the bathing platform. Now the bathing platform itself is actually quite wide.
I'll step off the boat and that'll give you...
The bathing platform itself is actually quite wide, but it doesn't overhang too much. But there's a step on the corners, so you can still step on and off nice and easy. So it's not too bad. There are underwater lights as well. And what's nice about these is that they go round to the side, so there's ones on the side as well as across the back. And you can see just stepping on and off is relatively easy. Bathing ladder under here. Just had a look, it's nice condition. And then I guess you're looking at this weird contraption. So this is actually to put a tender on. So the idea is you'll have your tender on here. That's to put a strap round and strap onto here so you can tie it to the back of the boat. And then when you want to launch it, there's actually a winch that goes in the end, and you basically twist and then lift, and then you can winch it down on the winch into the water. And then when you want to recover it, you simply bring the tender to the ends, pull the winch all the way out and tie it to the front, and then you can literally lift it up and then winch it on, and then when you're back on, you give it a twist round and then put it back in position again.
I actually really like that. I was sceptical when I first saw it, but I think it's actually a very, very simple solution, actually. I mean, in a way, it's a sort of a first generation of the Hurley Davit. The Hurley Davit works in a similar way, although it's a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
But actually, it's just like a sort of a dinghy, sailing dinghy launching trolley, really.
Yeah, and this wasn't on here when we arrived, so it is removable. So this was actually in the crew cabin. So if you don't want it on here, obviously it hangs over the back. So if you're reversing up to pontoon and don't need a tender on here, the whole thing's actually removable, and it was stored in the crew cabin. So I fished it out this morning just to show you, because it's quite quirky. And people will ask, what do you do with a tender? So there you go.
Awesome. Right, might be worth mentioning in terms of cosmetic condition, the boat could do with a polish. So the good thing about this, the quality of the gel coat always on the Sunseekers, Fairlines, Princesses of this era is the gel is very, very thick. It's good quality gel, but what it does tend to do is you always need to give it a good cut and polish each year, and that's something which I think would bring that hull back looking absolutely superb.
But that modelling just seems to be on those back corners.
Yeah, it's just where it gets affected by the light, isn't it? There's a bit more UV light there. It's a much, much deeper blue as you work your way further down the boat. You can see the big, large, there's 2 windows on this side, and there's actually 3 windows on the other side, which, if my maths is correct, gives you your 5 windows down in your master cabin. And then you've also got a porthole here, which I believe is in the ensuite for the master cabin, that one. And then as you work your way forward, this is the galley area, so no need to have any more lights, but then there's also a light here which is into the, I guess it's the front cabin, which is your guest cabin on this particular boat. But you can see the shape of the boat is very beautiful. It's a very classic Sunseeker. I have to say, this is maybe a little controversial now, but for some of the later Sunseekers, I feel they've lost that sort of the edginess of a Sunseeker. A Sunseeker has always, to me, represented a really sporty looking boat, and they've been very, very distinctive. And I think some of the more modern Sunseekers they've stepped a little bit away from that sporty feel of the Sunseeker range, and I really, really like this. I think this is to me what a classic Sunseeker should look like. We talked about heating earlier, put the heating on. The heating is absolutely brilliant on this boat. We turned it on this morning, and I think within, I would say, an hour, and it was pretty chilly when we got on board. The boat was, we were wanting to turn down the thermometer. It's a very powerful heating unit. In fact, I put my hand there and nearly burnt my hand earlier. It's a very, very powerful system, which is good. I'm a big fan of all year round winter boating, and because of that, you do need to make sure the boat's able to be toasty warm. So where should we go? Up to the Flybridge?
Yeah, let's go and have a look up there.
Yeah, making the most of the fact that it's not raining at the moment.
Well, actually, I just want to show you, there's 2 little lockers on here actually, which is quite useful. There's one here, so if you do want storage in the back, there's one here that they just put a few paddles, bits and pieces for the tender, which is quite nice when it's on there. And then there's a second one just in the floor, just down here, and that's just storage for ropes or extra fenders as well. It's quite nice. Also, your water fill up, usefully, is just to pull up inside the boat. Normally they're on the side and they're a bit of a pain to get at, but that's quite an easy one. And there's actually a hose connection as well, just below.
The other thing I quite like as well is you've got this stainless steel rail that runs all the way back here. So when you're going along, if you want to put your fenders and tie your fenders onto the back of the boat, it's nice to easily do that. Some boats don't have that, and you end up cluttering up the cockpit area with fenders. So it's nice to be able to see that. Yeah,
exactly. And it's nice security as well. So when you're standing on the back, you can actually have something to hold on to. And there's also a shower just down there. And we've got electric hookup just in there, and your main battery switches are neatly behind the door. Yeah, we can see your main RCD switch for your 240, and then we got shore power and then generator. So this does have a generator as well, and then you've got your main battery switches there. So very easy when you step aboard.
That's how I noticed a trip there. It's always worth pointing out at this stage that this boat does have a bow and a stern thruster. I should have said that when we were looking down below. In the lovely clear waters here, bow and stern thruster, making the manoeuvring on this boat very, very easy. But what makes it even easier, we're going to come onto it a bit later, is this boat has just had fitted an entire Dockmate system. So this is where you can control the boat with literally a little pad, and we'll show you that. So anyway, as I remember things, I'll drop them into the walkthrough video.
Talk and walk.
So it is really blowy up here. I'm just hoping these microphones are going to capture everything, so we may not be up here too long, but we'll just give a quick go around. Exactly as Jonathan said earlier, the upholstery up here, it needs a bit of a clean. To be fair, it isn't split and it isn't falling apart anywhere. But
just giving it a wipe down, and it does have a full black cover that goes over the whole lot, which is just sort of rolled down there for now. But when I took it off, it was a bit grubby. I think we've had that Sahara rain. And a bit of that was blown up under there, but I've given it a clean. But you can see there is still some grubbiness to it, but there really isn't too much in the way of splits or anything like that, so it's not bad. I think a good clean up, you can get away with another season with this.
And while looking at the helm position here, you can see you've got twin plotters. You've got a Lowrance plotter, but most importantly, this boat's been recently upgraded with twin Axiom Raymarine plotters. Now, the Axiom range is the latest Raymarine range. It's an absolutely superb plotter. I've got it on my own boat, and they're absolutely brilliant. So that's both upstairs and downstairs Axiom 12s there. On these Caterpillar engines, you've got fly-by-wire controls. They're Caterpillar engines rather than Volvo Penta or MANs. They were all three were options on this particular boat, but it's nice to see fly-by-wire controls making handling this boat very, very easy. And a big sunpad area there, which is Sunseeker again. When I think of Sunseeker, I think of blasting around the Mediterranean with people sunbathing, and this is very, very Sunseeker, isn't it?
Yeah, the cushions. The cushions, again, you can see they've got these two seats on there, but underneath they're covers that cover the actual cushions. So they're not bad condition again. Again, just need a clean up. And then we've got a galley up on the Flybridge as well, with a sink and a fridge. So fridge unit upstairs.
Nice.
Yeah, it's quite good. And I think all in all, the whole size of it is big. I like the helm is big enough for three.
If I sit down, it gives you a real good idea. You know, I think you'd probably get good 10 people sat around here. So a Flybridge really suitable for 10 or 12 people up the top here, which is unusual, I think, for a 50-footer. It's really nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the radar's been upgraded as well. So it's a digital radar to go with the new Raymarine systems. I had it on a bit earlier and it works well. And we've got two red lights. Well, we've got two red lights.
I was looking at those. I think that's probably more pilotage above our station. Might be something to do with Guernsey area, but it's...
Yeah, actually, the other one over there has got two red lights as well.
Yeah, so I think it must be Guernsey waters, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Right, well, should we head back down and we'll show you the rest of the boat?
I'd like to pretend it's a really warm spring day, but it's actually really cold here in Guernsey, so I think it's a very good idea.
I'm going to put the coat back on. I'll just show you the cover. It's a nice clear cover, so you can have it shut. But at the same time, once it's open, then you can get up and down, obviously. Just going to fix that. It's better.
Right. Welcome inside. That's a good point.
Take your shoes off.
Yes, I will do this. I didn't naturally do it because it's not carpet, but you're absolutely right, I should do.
I'm going to shut the door because it's freezing.
Very good idea. Right, well, let's start off with the seating area down here. So another one of our customers has got a Manhattan 55, and it's actually really interesting. We've spent quite a lot of time on that boat, and it's interesting to see the differences between the two. But actually, I think this boat compares very, very favourably. One of the big differences is on that Manhattan 55, they've got a sideboard unit with a television on this side, whereas on this particular boat, you've got a nice sofa area there as well. So I always quite like it when you've got a boat that you can have people on both sides. It makes it feel more family orientated, a bit friendlier when you've got groups of friends here. What's quite a nice feature here, this table, at the moment it's in the small mode, which is absolutely perfect because you can get in and out, you can get around, you could have, I reckon, 6-7 people sat around there at ease. But then if you wanted to turn it into dining mode, you lift it up, you twist it round, and you drop it down. Very, very quickly, very easily, you've now got a dining table suitable for sitting down and having a meal with 6-8 people. I really like that. It's very simple, very, very easy to do. Sunseeker haven't tried to do anything particularly complicated or clever. They just split it in half and rotate it again. Very, very straightforward. You've got a television, which is up here. It's a Samsung curved television, and you've also got a Samsung sound bar under there as well. And the condition of the wood on this boat, I would say overall is really good. The only thing just to point out is at some point in the boat's life there has been a little bit of a water leak coming down from the Flybridge. So there's a little bit of water damage to some of the wood behind the sofa there, which is something that a new owner could address. But certainly when we've come on board the boat today, there's no evidence of any wetness anywhere. So I think it's a historical leak which has been fixed, would be my guess, because there's certainly no evidence of any recent water ingress there. But apart from that, everything is actually really good. All around the wood here, you've not got lots of bashes or anything like that. It's a high gloss cherry wood in this boat. I think Sunseeker had a few different options at this age. You can have a matte effect or a high gloss cherry. And I think it all looks very nice. And I like the fact it's not carpet, actually. On some boats, when it's not carpet, I think it can feel quite cold. But actually, I like the feel of this boat. It still feels really, really nice.
Yeah, it feels really modern.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, I really like the floor. Also, we got it's got Eberspatcher heater, as Andrew said. The controls are there. It's a digital programmable control. And it feels really nice. It actually comes out of the vent here. There's a vent here behind here, so you just haven't got one of them horrible plastic vents there. That's actually very smart.
And I like at the top here where you've sometimes this is all lined. There's actually some high gloss cherry which is inset into the top there, which again it just adds to that feeling of quality on the boat.
Yeah, it's a luxury feel.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, talk about luxury. I love the stainless steel handrail.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's really nice.
I love that coming through here.
Do you want me to take over and you talk about the helm position?
Yeah. More storage there. So it is a lovely drinks cupboard.
Actually, the original Sunseeker champagne flutes in there.
Yeah, you always got a bit of Sunseeker bling going on. Just 2 shelves in there. But then we've got this large helm seat.
Two-person seat or a generous one? No, it's just about 2, isn't it?
Yeah, you could have someone sat there next to you. It's really nice. And again, this is sort of Sunseeker at the time. This was probably aimed about having, someone driving for you.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
true.
Hence the crew cabin as well. But yeah, I'd quite happily have another person sat next to me on here. But then you can see there's a massive array of instrumentation. Again, from the new Raymarine chart plotter to a new Simrad VHF. The Simrad depth looks fairly original. Then we've got Caterpillar controls, and then we've got a Simrad autopilot system in the centre.
The Caterpillar controls, it's interesting. I'm not that familiar with Caterpillar engines. I tend to know a bit more about the Volvo Penta side, but they look a little bit more technological, if that's such a word, than the Volvo Pentas this age. 2005 Volvo Pentas, you wouldn't get electronic, you wouldn't get LCD displays and things telling you stuff, would you?
Yeah, you're sort of on the cusp with switching to the D. If with the Volvos, they kind of switched around that era to like the D9s and the D12s. And then you did get that.
That's true.
And just before that, when they were doing the older ones, then that was all very analog. But this was sort of same. And these Caterpillars are the newer type. The C12s are the newer type. So they have the diagnostic. So there's 2 diagnostic ports on here, so you can plug in and diagnose problems with the engines. And you've obviously got a really clear display, digital display for any warning lights and things like that. But you still start them with keys. So you still have keys where you start them and you stop them to press a button. But they still have electronic controls.
Which is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, these are lovely controls. I operated them a little bit earlier and they're really nice. The engine started up on the button straight away.
That's the first time we think they've been started for several months, isn't it? And they didn't hesitate at all.
Yes, no, absolutely. And you've got bow and stern thruster controls here. There was bow and stern thruster controls which still work, which I was using earlier. But Andrew was saying about the Dockmate system, which is just being fitted and still has a little bit of work to do on it to get it done. It's almost 90% done, I think.
Absolutely. So it hasn't been calibrated is the only thing, but it's going to be down as a 2022 system. So all your warranties will run through from 2022 because it hasn't been finally calibrated yet. In fact, that's really nice. I just noticed it's very similar to the Scanstrut. In fact, it may even be made by Scanstrut.
Yeah.
And it's a wireless charger there, which can be used to charge up the Dockmate. Do you know, I'm just going to see if this works. This is a live test here. It does. So if you want to charge up your phone, you can also use the Dockmate charger there.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That is just...
I'm a bit of a gadget man. I was interested to know if that worked.
But as you can see, the Dockmate, it not only controls the bow and stern thruster.
Actually, this particular system isn't set up on the bow and stern thruster at the moment. So they've done this one just on propulsion on this particular boat because the owner decided that because the bow and stern thruster operated through the remote control anyway, but it is an option that someone could upgrade this to have it do the bow and stern thruster as well. So this is just propulsion based on the Dockmate at the moment.
So it operates each engine independently in and out of gear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, what's the benefit of that?
Well, the benefit, I guess, if you're mooring up, you could moor up from the stern. So you could go to the back of the boat and with the remote control, when you're coming in and out of a marina, on a shaft drive boat, the steering wheel is pretty much irrelevant. And so from that point of view, you could be anywhere on the boat manoeuvring it. even on the bathing platform if you're short-handed with a rope.
Yeah, yeah, you're perfectly right. Because you do very little steerage on a boat like this when you're actually manoeuvring. It's more port engine, starboard engine, and then bow and stern thruster. And you're right, a lot of larger boats will actually have a engine controls at a remote helm at the back, right on one side of the boat. So the person driving can actually see the side of the boat very clearly. And if you've got this in your hand and the bow and stern thruster control, you can actually do exactly that and bring yourself nicely in onto a pontoon without having to ask people to tell you how far you are from the pontoon and what's going on. You can do it all yourself. Really useful tool, especially if you're short-handed or you're doing something like a charter and you're trying to park the boat on your own, and of course you're not going to ask guests to start doing that. So very, very useful tool to have. All right, let's put that back on.
Okay. Recognising the charge. Useful that.
Yeah. But yeah, as I say, I like the steering wheel.
It's a classic.
It's a classic Sunseeker one, isn't it? They've put slightly, but I quite like the stainless and the wood on that. I really like that. It's quite a nice feature. There's a small window here that slides up and down. So this does go up and down. But apart from that, there's not much else to say, because you've seen the upper helm as well. Very similarly laid out. You can start and stop the engines up there as well. And of course the same controls and the same functionality.
Just before we carry on with the walkthrough tour and go down below, I'm just going to spin the camera around just so you can get a feeling of sort of spaciousness on this boat here, really. There's a quick 360 doing there. Loads of space, and actually one of the things that makes this really feel voluminous as a boat is the fact that you do just step down. You know, Jonathan's just gone down to the galley, and I'm standing pretty much at your head height there.
Yeah, your feet are up to here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So this boat was probably one of the first generations of boat that started having this midships cabin, which has just lifted the height of boats massively. It was quite interesting. A couple of months back, we sold a Princess 52 from Port Hamble, and next door to it was a Princess 49, which had that midships cabin. And it is amazing how much higher boats have gone now to accommodate that midships cabin. But you'll see in a minute why they do that, and just how much versatility and space that gives you.
Yeah. We're going to show you the galley now, so you want to obviously see what facilities are in here. So just as Andrew's coming down, I just want to show you first of all, there's actually a Miele fridge here.
Looks quite new, actually. I'd imagine that's a fairly recent addition.
Yeah, but it's not the only one.
There's another one.
There's another one. So they were going for maximum capacity. So as you come down these lovely steps into this beautifully appointed galley, if we look here, there is another fridge.
Nice. And what's underneath?
A washer dryer.
I'll say. That's really
So
good,
a
isn't
full washer dryer and two fridges in the galley. We've also got a three. Are we going induction?
I think it's
Or
just
halogen?
a halogen. I haven't seen an induction sign on it, so I think it's just a halogen.
And then we've got a microwave and
Combi oven.
combi. Yeah, I think does it do both?
It does.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a combi microwave. Nice size, actually. It's a nice size internally. Much bigger than we want at home.
So just looking at that feature, I'd say there's no gas on board the boat then. So everything is generator powered when you're out at sea, or shore powered when you're plugged in. So it's really nice not to have to worry about gas, not have to do gas safety checks, etc., etc.
Yeah, very good. And there's a nice little feature here. There's the bin.
Very good.
The bin's fitted into the worktop. There's lots of power points on the side there. Twin sink. And then lots of cupboards, lots of storage in the top and storage down here as well. But again, all in all, very nice. Has an electric outlet, but what I like about the steps is they're all lit. They've got nice little subtle lighting.
Yeah, and if I just sort of lift the camera up here, again, you can see just how voluminous the boat is. It's a really, really good feeling of space. Should we start in the main cabin?
Yep. I'll let Andrew take over.
I love this cabin. So if we step down the steps here, just to say as you go down, you've got distribution panel in here. So I'll just take that back a second. A distribution panel in here. So this is where you've got all of your controls for the ship systems and everything. And I mean everything. There is every switch under the sun in there. All nicely appointed and in there. Good Sunseeker quality. But as you step into this cabin, you have full head height in your midship's cabin. So I'm about 5'10". I think Jonathan's 6 foot. He probably will just about fit in there as well. So the head height runs all the way around, which is really nice. So you can walk all the way around the side of the bed here and maintain this head height. You've got a nice vanity unit across here. You've got a seat down here with a large mirror, lots and lots of storage all the way along, and these 3 massive portholes here. And the bed,
so light down here, isn't it?
I mean,
compared to the other cabin.
I've not slept on a boat that's got a midship's cabin before, and I have to say I would just love the idea that you sleep here. I wouldn't put the curtains down, leave the curtains up, and wake up in the morning and just look straight out with the water just basically lapping at your cabin. I think it's fantastic.
Wave at the paddleboarder going past.
Oh, that's true. They might get a shock if I didn't have to close the curtains. But the condition of everything in here, just want to draw people's attention. It almost looks like this cabin has never ever been slept in. The linings are absolutely perfect. It's superb.
Carpets are nice.
Yeah, everything is really lovely in here. This is sort of a suede effect here on the headboard. It's all presented in absolutely beautiful condition. If I were being hypercritical, I would just say that it looks like at some point there's been a little bit of a water leak through one of those windows. So again, the wood has got a little bit of damage on the top there that could be addressed by the owner. But to be fair, it's a long way away from where you see when you come down here. So your eyes don't naturally go to it. What you feel in here is just a fantastic amount of space. And just behind you, Jonathan, is a television. That's a nice Samsung television in there. You can see actually in this boat, the televisions, there's a couple of televisions, there's a television in each cabin, and they used to be set into this smaller area because of course in 2005 LCD displays, they were quite small. So you can see this one's been updated to a larger display, and if you wanted to update the other cabins, you could of course do that. All right. Ensuite. So dive into here as well. The ensuite's really nice. This is a really nice designery ensuite to me. I love the fact that the basin is sat on the top there. It's a full wraparound shower, so you don't need to turn this room into a wet room to have your shower. It's a good, powerful shower there. Air dispatcher heating vent there, so when you're heating the boat, when you come out the shower, this room is nicely heated as well. And all the mirrors are all in nice condition. It's just a good size, and you've got a heated towel rail as well.
That's interesting. I'll pop in there. But it's interesting you were saying about the vents, because I've not been in anywhere yet where there's not been a heating vent. But even the cockpit area, when it's enclosed with the covers, has got a heating outlet in it.
I'd love to know what the power is of that heater. I know I've banged on about it, but if I've just opened the vent down here, because this room didn't even have a vent open, and it's almost too hot to put your hand in front of the vent. I'm really impressed with that.
This is really cool. Heated towel rail. Nice. The toilets are all vacuum flush toilets. They're all vacuum operated into a holding tank. And you can divert overboard, so there is a macerator, so you can pump overboard if need be. I'm just finding more storage here. So underneath the bed, you've got 2 big deep storage drawers. So I think loads and loads of storage on this boat. Certainly plenty enough for you to go off on a nice couple of week holiday. If not live aboard. One of our customers lives on board a Princess 50, and I would happily live on board this. There's plenty of space. And again, these nice little steps, the nice floor. And what have you got in there? You've got a bunk, haven't you?
Yeah, bunk bed.
Is there room for us all in there?
Probably just myself. So if you, I'll bring the in there. The panel is just down at the moment. This is just for that final calibration because the Dockmate system lives up in there. But that just pops back up on this dual lock system, which is very, very useful by Sunseeker, Fairline Princess, all of that age. Everything tends to be dual locked up, so they're quite easy to get these panels down. But you've got 2 good size bunks here. This one I'd say is slightly wider than a standard single, and the one at the top is a standard single. But you've got good courtesy lighting throughout, more storage areas here. You've got a large cupboard as well. Let's open that up. In fact, it's a massive cupboard. It's a brilliant cupboard space in there. More drawers at the bottom, heater vent down there, and then this is what I was referring to earlier as the, one of these smaller televisions in here. But if you wanted to update that to a larger one, then that would be very, very easy to do. And more storage space down here. Right, let's head back out. Then, of course, what we'll go into now, if you didn't have this massive midships cabin, this would normally be the owner's cabin. And, of course, it's still a really, really good size.
Yeah, really nice island bed. Quite a nice size. And, yeah, it feels really nice. And you're talking about TV, like you still got the original one. Look at that.
Nice.
Obviously dinged if you're going to bring a friend that they should put up with the luxury of being on a boat with you. You have to upgrade their TV for them as well.
Actually, it's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I disconnect it, so they just have to talk to me.
There's a really nice feel about it.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. But you can see it's nowhere near as light as the other cabin.
Yeah, very much so.
Nowhere near as light, because we've got the two windows and we've got the overhead as well. But that big mid cabin is massive. Really good storage. These are actually quite deep. I just had a look. They're actually pretty deep.
Nice.
Very deep cupboards and a full size wardrobe. You don't want to look at Andrew's here. Let's open that up. And that's really deep as well. So sometimes when you put your full size clothes in, you have to put them at an angle and stuff. In some boats, but on here, full size.
And I like as well, because the Sunseeker has got this really nice sheer bow. So I think this the Sunseeker of this age was designed by a guy called Don Sheed. And what he produced was very, very deep V hulls that just really cut through the water. And you can see actually, so on my boat, which is a Fairline, the angle of the hull, I look straight out. Whereas these, because the hull is angled quite sharply, you look down to the water. I quite like that. Yeah,
That's interesting. I'm not.
But I say that you can't see. There you go. That's better with the light there.
What, the clear blue water.
The clear blue water in both sets. It's a bit different than the Solent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. So also this doubles as day heads.
So if I open this door, Jonathan's going to appear.
And then I can come through this one.
In this door.
So Jack and Jill. And again, same decor as the other one, but this is slightly bigger, I think.
Yeah, it's quite a bit bigger actually.
Yeah, so this is larger shower. Well, not larger shower, but it's just in this room. It just feels like a bigger room. Again, toilet, nice worktop there, cupboards there, and again, it's just a nice full-size shower. So 2 proper showers.
I do like these sinks on the pedestals. I think they just look really modern. For 2005, that must have been really market leading, because a lot of the boats have done that now, but they're sort of 2010 onward boats.
Like the tap.
Yeah.
You've seen the tap? But I don't know, it looks like
that's really funny.
Looks like a little animal or something.
Doesn't it? A little deer or something.
Yes. Well, anyway.
There's a dehumidifier down there, so you can see the owners have been keeping the boat nice and warm and dehumidified during the winter months.
Yeah. No, lovely. And again, it's all the woodwork's in nice, lovely condition in here. Doesn't have any water damage in here at all. It's quite nice. So I think we're just gonna probably show you down in the engine room.
Yep, that sounds.
I think we'll stick our heads down there, nice and spacious again. So we'll head down there now, and we'll just show you around there.
Well, I say we're going to show you. I think that's your domain, Jonathan.
I can't get my shirt dirty, otherwise I'll get in trouble.
You understand these engine things? They're I just know the different colours of them.
This is like, as far as I get. Yeah, that's what the Prime Minister does when he does something blue collar. He puts his.
This is you going to work mode, is it?
This is me going to work mode.
So where's access to the engines then, Jonathan?
Right, so you've got to come out of here. Put my shoes on.
Get my shoes out of the way.
And then, believe it or not...
It doesn't look a particularly large engine hatch, actually, but it's deceptively large, I think.
The TARDIS down here.
Yeah.
So there is a ladder, so I can go down. So quite easily, come down. I'm standing up now. So I'm actually standing up. And as I go backwards, you can see these fantastic Caterpillar engines.
I'm going to complete layman comment here, but does the C stand for Common Rail? Are these the later generation Caterpillar engines that would be Common Rail?
They are. They are electronically controlled. Okay. Yes. So what that means is that they'll give you the power when you need it. They won't overfuel, so you'll get a lot less. You'll get a big reduction in smoke.
Okay.
So you get a noticeably different amount of black soot on the back of the boat that you would get on earlier type engines. But they're completely bulletproof, proven agricultural engines. So they're absolutely fantastic in things like this, and they're about 710 horsepower each. And the last service this time last year?
Yeah,
March last year, and they're in excellent condition. If I grab the camera, you can get a good idea of how these are looked after. Everything is nice and clean. What I like about these as well is things like oil changes and things like that are very easy because it has an actual hand pump and then a handle. So basically, if you want to empty the gearbox oil, you have the handle one way, and if you want to empty the engine oil, you put the handle the other way, and then you can attach a hose onto here, and then you just empty it into a container.
It's amazing that Volvo Pentas haven't done anything like that of this generation. Perhaps they have done on later ones, but at the time, in 2005, they certainly haven't got that.
It just makes life so much easier when you're doing oil changes, and you can see it on the other side as well. These do have hour logs down here as well, but generally the condition is really nice. And what I particularly like is actually how clean we can see, but the bilges under the engines are very clean. I'm not being, but trust me, there isn't. They are very clean under here, and you don't often see it, especially once they get sort of a bit older. But the bilges are very clean. We've got these nice later type stern seals, and we've obviously got a large fire extinguisher in here, which is automatic. It's on a fire safe system, which you've got to monitor at the helm. And then we've got the generator. Generator, as you can see, is done 61.8 hours. We ran this earlier, it runs very well, and the size of it should be on here as well. We'll confirm that. But a very spacious engine room. We've got distribution panel just there, so any of the main trips, if they go, and fuses, we've got a light switch as well, which will turn off as we come back up. But all in all, everything is in great shape.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Right. Okay, and then put that down. So all in all, I think we've seen most of the boat.
Yep.
I think there's loads of great points about this boat, including the condition of the engines, the interior, and the way it feels like it's been looked after over the years. I feel that generally it's been very good, and just needs a bit of TLC just to take it to that next level. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a really lovely boat. Since we arrived in Guernsey this morning, I think I've really fallen in love with the boat. To be honest, it's the more time I spend on it, the more homely it is. The more it's the sort of boat that I would really like to spend a lot of time on it. So just a quick recap. So 2005 Sunseeker Manhattan 50. It's powered by two Caterpillar engines, 710 horsepower each, and overall the boat is presented in very nice condition. There's a couple of things that you could upgrade, which would be down to the owner's preference, but overall I think it's a really, really lovely boat. Now, the boat is over in Guernsey. The boat's actually been in the Channel Islands all of its life, and so it is not a VAT-paid boat. So this boat, if someone decides to buy this boat and take it across the UK, then we can help you with that process, but the VAT will need to be paid on this boat. But of course, what that does mean is that you have a lovely, clean VAT-paid invoice, which makes it really, really nice for the provenance of the boat, not needing to go back to the original bill of sale, etc., etc. So it's really nice that if this boat does go back into the Solent, then you'll have a nice clean VAT paid. But of course, if somebody from the Channel Islands wants to buy this boat, then you don't need to pay the VAT, and the boat can just move from here in Guernsey or even stay on its berth. So lots of different options for this boat. But I think it's a fantastic boat. It's the first time I've been on board a Manhattan 50. We've spent quite a bit of time on the 55, and I think this boat has a huge amount to offer.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. Well, let's wind it up then. So I hope you've enjoyed this video.
Yep.
And that's Andrew Adams. I am Jonathan Parker. So subscribe to our channel. Come and see this boat on our website, parker-adams.co.uk. and we'll catch you for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also just wanted to say, we will absolutely, although the boat's in Guernsey, we can facilitate the viewings on this. And yeah, do get in touch with us. We're looking forward to presenting this boat to people, and we don't believe it's going to be on the market very long. They're a very sought after boat, and this is very well appointed and presented in very nice condition. So thank you once again for watching. As Jonathan said, please like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.